And hello, welcome back to the Gay Racing Podcast. Zack and Alex are back with you for episode number 200.
Crazy.
Episode 200. 200.
200.
That's crazy. We've done this for 4.5 years. It's our 200th episode. Thank you to everyone who's been here for, at least, you know, whether you've been here for all 200 episodes or whether you've been here for just the last few. Thank you so much for the support. We couldn't do this without you. I mean, I guess we could. It'd just be kind of boring. I mean, wow. We could just yap to ourselves and post it on the internet, but y'all make it fun.
And, you know, that was kind of the original idea, is like, oh, yeah, we'll just yap for fun because, you know, we kind of jokingly talked about it. Yeah, like we always talked after races anyway. And here we are. We're still doing it. I don't think we anticipated we'd do more than 10 episodes.
Yeah.
I mean, we're still doing this.
It is kind of crazy that we've stuck with it, honestly, just the two of us. And, you know, all the guests that we've had along the way. We had some really cool guests. You know, J.R. Hildebrand, Travis Shoemake. I'm blanking. J.R. Houston. Yes, thank you. I'm like, we had someone very cool on that, so I couldn't think.
We've made a lot of friends, like Elizabeth Blackstock. Yeah. Like, love her. We've had our friend Jackson Todd on, Brooke Curran. We've had a lot of guests. Matt Weaver, favorite bald man in America. Yeah. And then what we've done with Pride Month has been a lot of fun too. We have some things cooking in the oven for that this year.
Yeah, we got some names on our document right here that I'm looking at. So to celebrate episode number 200, we have a lot of content going on with not only our Patreon, but of course our YouTube channel. So first, we just released over the weekend a review of all the throwback paint schemes that were racing at Darlington this weekend with our great friend Davin, also known as Drive Through Designs. Patreon caught it first on Saturday night, but it went up Sunday morning. So if you want to catch that after this episode, go ahead. It was a great discussion. We talked about a lot of cool, like, little detailed things with paint schemes and stuff because, you know, I be designing paint schemes. I know what I'm talking about. We had a lot of fun with Davin there. Thank you, Davin, for coming on. I also uploaded to YouTube the F1 Rookies discussion with Elizabeth Blackstock that I recorded. That's up on YouTube for everyone to see. Patreon, I think you guys had it for, like, you know, last week, the week before. So you guys might have already seen it. But if you haven't seen it yet, it's on YouTube now. It's great. Elizabeth taught me a lot and kind of learned some really cool things I didn't know. Yeah. And then one last thing. This is only on Patreon. Alex and I reacted to the Nintendo Switch 2 presentation, which might be like, that's not about racing. Actually, it is, because Mario Kart World. Oh my gosh. They're turning it into a racing sim, basically. It's got a weather system, day to night cycle. It's going to be great. Open world. Oh my god.
I have not stopped watching footage for that game. But that was not our biggest reaction of that direct. You have to watch.
There was another game that we like completely lost our minds over because we didn't expect it coming. And God, I'm so excited for Mario Kart. Like, that's been like, when I look back as a kid, I'm like, what games have I been excited for the most of my life? It's Mario Kart. Obviously, I've always been into racing, and Mario Kart was just that perfect blend of, you know, video games and racing. So yeah. So go ahead, check out all that content. Thank you guys so much for the support. And thank you again, everyone who's been here for all 200 episodes. But you're not here to hear us, you know, yap about that. You're here to listen to us yap about the racing. This week we had NASCAR at Darlington. F1 was at Suzuka, but I don't think we're talking about it. Nothing really happened. Max Verstappen won.
I don't think they're keeping up their streak. I don't think we're talking about it. I had it on, but I got bored and I went to bed.
Oh, I was sleeping. I'm glad I slept too. The most interesting thing that happened was Jack Doohan left his DRS flap open in practice and crashed in turn 1.
Oh no.
So like he did, like, apparently you're supposed to close it or something. I don't know.
And if you watch Zack and Elizabeth's video about F1 rookies, that could have consequences for Jack Doohan. So there you go. We talked about F1. NASCAR at Darlington.
Yeah, there you go. NASCAR at Darlington. Speaking of F1, where they don't pass, NASCAR at Darlington. So actually, I have a lot of good things to say about this race.
Yeah,
but I'll do it in the last. I'll do it in a little bit. Kind of like how that race was only good in the last bit. So NASCAR at Darlington. William Byron dominated this race, 110%. Right.
Yep.
and it was kind of cool. And I'm kind of skipping through. Or should we talk about Byron first, or should we
let's
talk
do
about
it
Hamlin first? Okay, so Byron, I mean, he was dominating this race, right? Stage 1, stage 2, and a lot of people were kind of, and I actually love to see this. People were like, you know what, this is kind of boring, but hey, this is kind of cool because we have not seen a driver have, because he led the first 243 laps of that race. The last time a driver went wire to wire and led every single lap in a race was Jeff Burton, leading all 300 laps at New Hampshire in 2000. It was a weird like restrictor plate race there. I don't know. Anyways, so it was like people were like, "Oh, this is kind of cool. William Byron might do something really historic," and that's kind of like a throwback. People don't do this anymore in modern NASCAR. Dominate the entire race, point blank period. But then the caution, or not the caution, but the no caution was coming out in stage 3. So a pit cycle was actually going to happen, right? We have green flag stops for like the second time in the season. Oh my God.
And for the record, I posted on Blue Sky, like, hey, if William Byron gets back in dirty air, he's probably going to struggle a bit. And he might not be as good in the dirty air because they will not be adapting his car throughout the race, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that's exactly what we saw because he had a slow pit stop. It put him behind. And he just wasn't really able to recover.
It was weird. It wasn't even like that slow of a pit stop. I think also just him getting onto pit road, I think, was a bit slow. And
when others pitted, and everything.
Yep, which exactly. I think what Rudy Fugle did was fine, except you should not have left it up to 2 laps, I think. You should have came in right after Bell pitted. I don't know why he left that up to chance because there was a huge tire advantage. And ultimately, I think that could have cost them being in a position to win this race. Right, because he was third when that last caution came out, I believe. Because he had the field completely he had them covered, right? Except until we got to the green flag cycle. Because really, yes, he led the first 200 laps, but if we didn't have stage cautions and we had a green flag cycle earlier, I think he could have lost the lead a lot earlier.
Earlier.
I'll get into that later, maybe when I talk about stages, because. Yeah, I think and that's what really got me into this race. As soon as that pit cycle happened and Byron lost control of the race, I got so interested because I had no idea who was going to win this race. And I know one of our fans, I think it was Blake. Blake was talking to me on Twitter, and he was like, how you really find this race interesting right now? I'm like, yes, because I have no idea who's going to win this. Is it going to be Tyler Reddick?
Was great.
Is it going to be Tyler Reddick?
Great.
Going to be Bell? Byron? I didn't even consider Blaney.
Blaney was so far back. Or Hamlin, yeah. Blaney was so far back, like 11 seconds or so. And then on that last run was just flying through guys. And Blaney was probably the fastest car all race long. But
y'all always say that.
I know.
Y'all always say that.
That's the story, Zach. That's the story.
I don't like saying he's got the fastest car. I like saying that like he gets through traffic the best.
And that's definitely a fair assessment.
I feel like I don't know.
Because Blaney was just flying through the field the entire race, has a slow pit stop because, of course.
Yeah, that was like stage 2, right? Oh, no, remember he got caught out. Well, he got caught out because he pitted in stage 2 and then the caution came out, remember?
Yeah.
He lost a lot of track position from that. But
then there was another time where his pit crew was really, really slow too.
The last stop?
I think there was another one besides that.
Yeah. Yeah, not a good day to be the 12 team.
With Blaney going from 4th to 1st, like he went right by Byron. He got Byron and Bell on the same lap. That's when I realized, oh my gosh, Blaney is probably going to win this race.
Yeah, he came out like 8th or 7th after that final pit stop. Like he passed a lot of guys. It was,
and then he had to chase down Tyler Reddick, who had a pretty large lead. And I'm like, oh, he's probably too far back. We're like 10 to go, and Reddick has like a 5-second lead or so. Blaney made it up.
He was getting like a second a lap at one point.
And that was
insane.
That was so cool to watch. And just like, oh my gosh. I was really excited. I was engaged. And then Blaney takes the lead. And that's when, of course, Kyle Larson spins out. But I want to go back to the stages and everything. We could have had this the whole race.
Honestly.
If we didn't have stages. And listen, I've never necessarily been a huge hater of stages. Like, I wish we didn't have them on the road courses, right? 1.5 mile short tracks, I've grown accustomed to them. I'm neutral on them, like they don't bother me. But this race, this could have been a banger if we did not have the stages.
It helps. I mean, because the thing is, this racing is the worst when everyone is on equal tires. Like, I don't think people realize we need all of these mixed up strategies and tire life lengths, like, and stuff for that racing to be interesting. I mean, Blaney was coming through the field. He was not going to do that if everyone was on equal tires, right? And we're talking about like minor differences too, like just by like 2 or 3 or 4 laps. That's the point of racing. That's why we watch cars go in circles, because there's guys doing different things to get to lap number 297 the fastest. And it's interesting. I had no idea who's going to win that race in the final, like, until about 4 laps to go, where I knew, or I thought I knew, who was going to win that race, right? That's why we watched. That's why I was so engaged with that race yesterday. And it's why I'm really disappointed on what happened with overtime. Oh, we're talking about NASCAR overtime again.
Of course.
NASCAR overtime ruined another race? What? That's crazy.
And Zach, I see your Kyle Larson shrine is very dark right now on your shelves.
Who's that?
Kyle Larson?
I don't know who that is.
Yeah. Kyle Larson crashed twice.
Is he like a dirt racer?
Yeah, he does some dirt racing.
Oh, okay. I don't know.
He crashed in the same spot twice in this race, once at the start of the race and once at the end in the Terry Labonte throwback scheme. That was such a bummer. Such a good car, but
what the hell is he doing?
So here's my question for Kyle Larson, because one, he's getting flop of the week. Okay. Because why did you not park your car when you were not able to pass anyone else? You were 1,000,000 laps down and you're running with 5 to go.
My fellow iRacers. He was grinding safety rating. Listen, he was being very safe, of course.
Oh yeah, I'm sure.
Did you listen to the teardown?
No.
Oh, you've been busy.
Yeah, so it was busy.
They asked Cliff Daniels about it, and this flipped my opinion, because I did have your opinion beforehand.
Okay.
Because of this new DVP policy, Cliff Daniels wanted the team to have experience working through that process, repairing the car, you know, with some kind of, I guess, pressure, you know, get this car back out here, get as many points as possible. Mm-hmm. And so just in case, you know, we come back here in a playoff race, right? Or just any other playoff race, so that they have that experience. This is practice. It's kind of practice for them. I believe they also mentioned laps on the track and data and tire pressures and stuff. Yeah. I don't care about that.
This is the opening race of the playoffs again.
Yeah. Sure. I don't know how much you're going to learn with a car that's technically still kind of damaged. Like, surely they did not get that car 100%, but he seemed to have decent pace at least. So I don't know. Maybe they did learn a lot. And again, reps for the pit crew as well in a race condition. But it's so I kind of, he has every right to be out there. He has every right to be out there.
He does.
So I feel okay with him being out there. However, I cannot sit here and act like that wasn't such a stupid look, because he was not going to get any more positions.
Exactly. And that's my thing. Why is he racing Bubba Wallace so hard? Bubba Wallace is 1 lap down. And again, Larson was like 500 laps down.
He like passed him a few laps prior. He must have had fresher tires or something. Or like he just passed him.
Like, get out of the way. What are you doing?
Yeah. That's the thing. When I'm in that position in iRacing and I'm literally racing nobody, I'm not even really going to go for a pass unless I'm like clearly faster than them. Which, to be fair, again, I think Larson was clearly faster than Bubba. I mean, because you also don't want to just sit there behind a guy and like, you know, what if something happens to him? It's just awkward. It's just awkward that he's out on the track, right? Because again, literally when he came back on track, the only guy that he could have passed was Josh Berry and JJ Yeley, I believe.
Well, and remember last year, Larson did not win the regular season championship by 1 point. Right. So from that perspective, I get it. But I feel like once he made that point, he should have probably parked it.
Except he didn't actually make a point because remember how the last 5 positions, they all reward 1 point. You don't get 2 points until, see, Alex, you're pissed now. You don't get 2 points until you're like 35th place, I believe. You're even more mad now because there are 38 cars in the race yesterday.
Come on.
I believe he finished 37th. Okay. He could have gotten, so he would have needed to gain 2 more positions, which was impossible for him to even gain 1 more point.
Okay.
So literally the only reason he was out there yesterday was to get practice and data collect and pit crew reps, which I understand. That 5 team has every right, but that looks stupid. Now, it looked more stupid before I knew Bubba hit him, though.
So I'm going to stop you there.
Yeah, I'll shut up.
Kyle Larson has every right to be out there. Fully. I don't think they should retract the DVP policy. I think having that reversed how it used to be, that's good. I think it's good that they can come back out and gain positions and try and gain things.
NASCAR's going to look at it.
They probably will. But I think at a point, like maybe like 30 laps to go, maybe if you can't gain anymore, they should like maybe just park your ass.
I almost wonder if there's no chance for you to gain any more positions, then just you need to get off the track. Well, but then like if someone's behind you though, like, you know what I mean? So that's kind of a weird rule.
Yeah. Maybe at like 30 laps to go, if you're in that position, no one can pass you or you cannot gain. Just get off the track.
Imagine if Byron was in the lead and that happened.
Well, and think
like
about
a teammate.
it. And I'm not being a conspiracy theorist, but just hear me out. The 23 is teammates with the 45 of Reddick, who was just getting passed by Blaney. And then Byron's up there, the teammate of Larson. And I'm not suspicious of anything, but I'm sure people are probably thinking that. Right?
Yeah, I don't think anyone's.
I don't think
the
so
only thing
either.
people are thinking are they're either clowning Larson or they're hating on Bubba as usual. So
yeah, and you mentioned that Bubba ran into him. This was not on Bubba Wallace.
Yeah, it wasn't. It really wasn't. It's like
this is Kyle Larson driving that that meme of like get off the road, bruh, and it's a beat up car and the windows all banged
like a
in.
Nissan Altima or something.
Yeah. That's Kyle Larson driving in front of Bubba, racing him, and then Bubba had nowhere to go, and then it turned Kyle. That's on Kyle Larson. So yeah, flop of the week, Kyle Larson. Congratulations.
Yeah, Bubba, like Bubba technically could have reacted differently, but in the same way that you could have technically reacted differently when the Talladega big one's happening in front of you. You know what I mean? Like turn 2 at Darlington. Like I saw someone said that like, hey, he could have went higher and dodged him. It's turn 2 at Darlington. That's not how that corner works. It's a very specific corner. You got to take a very specific line to get off there. I don't even think he saw Reddick hit the wall. I think if Bubba would have seen Reddick hit the wall, I think he would have actually probably not hit Larson because I think he would have let off too and been more like aware in that moment.
Yeah.
So it's definitely on Larson. He definitely checked up too hard.
And
what an embarrassing day.
If that doesn't happen, Ryan Blaney probably wins this race. But you know what else probably happens that Ryan Blaney wins this race? If we don't have NASCAR overtime, Ryan Blaney
that race
probably
was
wins
actually
this race.
400 miles. Yes.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, what? I don't know. Because part of me is like, it's really cool that Denny Hamlin's pit crew got to get him another win.
Yeah.
I think that's kind of cool.
But also, just like the Brickyard 400 last year, I know Larson won that race, but it's very similar to that race to me. You have a driver charging through the field and they have this incredible run, closing up on the leaders, and then overtime just kills any enjoyment from that. And that's not the story anymore. It's not this driver's miraculous drive through the field.
Yeah, that's
like Kyle Larson won.
Talk about
Kyle Larson won the Brickyard 400 last year, but that's not the story. The story was all the overtimes that happened. Ryan Blaney had an incredible drive, and now it's not even. I mean, we're talking about it, but that's not the story.
It's not. We're not talking about it in a good light. You know what I mean? It's
exactly.
Like
and
Austin Dillon at Richmond last year. I mean, if there's no overtime at Richmond, Austin Dillon wins the race in an incredible, crazy win. Like no one expected him to come out and beat everybody.
Yep.
But instead, we gave Austin Dillon the opportunity to make a fool of himself, and that's all we could talk about. Like that's why it's just like overtime's not entertaining to me anymore, especially with these cars. Like, they're not having that interesting of restarts at Darlington, at least. They just crash more, or they just stay gridlocked and don't pass.
One of our Patreon members, Dylan, just says quite simply, I hate overtime.
I hate overtime.
Me too.
It's just, it doesn't add anything to the race for me anymore. Maybe it's because I'm not a kid anymore. I don't know. I mean, I feel like we're crazy when we say this too.
I think we're in the minority, like, actually.
And that worries me because, gosh, I mean, when NASCAR fans watch the Indy 500 and that ends under caution.
Oh, my gosh.
Before the last few years. But, like, it just irks me so much. And it's kind of the problem with NASCAR. The biggest problem. It's kind of tied with the playoffs because it's the same issue. Just, whatever just happened that you watched, it kind of doesn't matter anymore. We're going to give Denny Hamlin a chance to take the lead, even though he was running kind of, not at the front. Which, again,
he was like top 5, but yeah.
He was in position to, obviously. He wasn't going to win that race if he wasn't like at the front. But still, it's
But Zach,
go ahead.
How many times have we said that this year? Oh, he was in position, like the Daytona 500 with Byron.
Yes.
Like, you're not supposed to have these kind of races where the driver who wins lucks into it this often. This should be like a once or twice
that will happen
thing. This happens more often than not.
That will happen in racing enough. It does. And same thing with like a pit crew winning a driver a race. If that caution came out 10 laps before and then Denny Hamlin gets the lead from it, that's great. But then then Denny's going to have to hold everyone off though. That's more interesting to me as well, right?
Yeah.
Not just like it's a free win because it's like an overtime restart and no one's going to be able to build up a run to pass them. It's just so annoying. And I feel like it's definitely never going to change. I think the playoffs are going to go away before we see overtime go, which is sad because I don't think anyone sees the issue with the legitimacy.
See,
I guess.
I've said this so many times. Overtime is the much bigger issue in the series right now. It is a massive problem, and it causes more chaos than any other problem that NASCAR has right now.
It just ruins the narratives too.
It emphasizes the issues that the playoffs have, but if you took overtime out, the playoffs would be a lot more balanced, as you wouldn't have that end of race chaos all 10 weeks.
Yeah. Again, what did we say earlier? What actually made the racing good yesterday when the race went green, long? Yellow flags are not good for Darlington in terms of like this current next-gen car.
They're not good for this car because it resets everything and all the cars are equal with this current car. So when they get new tires on there, they're all just equal and they're not going to pass each other.
I'm such a caution hate. Remember when they threw that stupid caution for Carson Hocevar? He was like spun out like on the apron.
Yeah.
Like not off turn 4, like the first one. Like he was spun out on the apron with flat tires and he was moving and they threw the caution. I'm like, why are you throwing the caution for that? He's completely off the racing surface. It's just like, oh my God, I hate caution flags. I hate them. I'm back on my I hate yellows phase. Remember when I used to hate yellows? I'm back on it. I hate them in iRacing. I hate them here. It's awful.
But Denny Hamlin did win this race. He goes back to back.
I hate Denny Hamlin.
Last week you were saying that you never know when your last win is. Well, it's not.
I meant to say that about this win. I actually meant to say that about this. I'm like, he may never win again. Wins the next race.
But listen,
I can't be more perfect than that.
Kevin Harvick's last 2 wins were back to back.
Martin Truex, his last win was his 3rd in like the last 8 races.
Yep.
I mean, Denny could win the next 5 races, and that could be it. That could be it, which he'll be happy with because he wants to beat Kevin Harvick. Yep. He wants to beat Kevin Harvick. No, 60 wins. So
I have nothing against Denny Hamlin for winning this. By the way, it wasn't his fault.
Again, I think it's cool his pit crew got to win that for him. Though is like
that's really cool.
Kind of cool.
Yeah, I will. He in his post race interview when he got out of the car, he thanked his pit crew and thanked Kyle Larson for the race win. I thought that was very funny. And then
I still don't know who that is.
The crowd was booing really, really loud. And then when he said, "And thank you, Kyle Larson," or whatever, the crowd booed louder.
I would have been mad if I watched that race. If I was at that race. I did watch that race. No, I would have been mad if I was at that race because I just feel like I just sat here for 3 hours and something interesting finally was happening and then none of it mattered. Like, oh my God.
And then and then to add salt to the wound, he just bashes your driver.
Yeah, he just taunts the fans. Because again, it's fine if the pit crews will get to decide enough of these races with how important track position is. Trust me, we don't need it to be on an overtime restart. I'm so sick of it. But
yeah,
it is a cool part of the sport. I mean, I know Denny had Bozy on his podcast last week, and they were talking about this new technique they've been doing with pit stops, and I believe Jamie Little even had a highlight on it yesterday during the race. That's a really cool part of our sport. Pit stops and pit crews are one of the coolest parts of our sport.
Yeah.
So that's honestly my favorite part about this whole messy situation. It's the fact that his pit crew at least got him the win. It's better than William Byron winning on the Daytona 500 because he had a horseshoe stuck up his ass. Certainly better than that. So at least there was some skill. At least skill still won yesterday. Skill did win the race yesterday. Still, just wasn't the skill that most people want to see, but it's racing, it's NASCAR, so could have been worse. Just not much worse.
But yeah, this race was kind of whatever for the most part, but that happens.
The next gen
kind of
car
talked about it, but
always sucked at Darlington. I don't think people have really, because it's a little bit too narrow. If you're like Ryan Blaney and your car can literally run on the apron and get clean air, then you can pass, but it's a very specific situation, I guess.
And it's interesting that Blaney seems to be the one car that has really figured out how to pass anywhere. It's just he loses all those spots again from a mishap or the pit crew.
And then short runs. He's just not that good on short runs. But yeah, it was pretty underwhelming. But again, that race got really interesting once it got long and there were green flag runs. So,
and that's what
something to think about. Maybe we don't need more restarts. Maybe we need less restarts. You know what I mean?
Crazy concept. I think this is better than Martinsville though. Would you say so?
Yeah, because stage 3 was fun.
Yeah.
But I voted no on Jeff Gluck's poll because...
Oh, did you? I voted yes. Okay.
No, all of the good racing I saw didn't matter. So, I mean, it did matter.
Fair.
It technically did matter, but you know what I mean.
Mm-hmm.
That pissed me off.
Yeah.
Overtime ruined that race.
Real quick. I don't want to have a long segment about Fox, but...
Oh my God, the TV coverage. No, that was bad.
That might be their worst one yet.
That actually might be their worst one. And the bar was already really low. Because they're not talking about the... no, here's the thing. I completely 110% understand having a kickback, let's talk about old stuff, have Greg Biffle in the booth, Richard Petty. I get having that at the spring Darlington race. At least it wasn't the playoff race. I get that. But even when they didn't have extra people in the booth, they just they're so bored. It's they're not talking about anything important.
That's why when NBC does a Southern 500 later this year, it's going to be such a different vibe because they're going to find storylines. Steve Letarte is going to be talking about the strategy going on. If they have another run like we were having, Steve Letarte will be all over that. And NBC will talk about other topics, and Lee Diffie will actually be, watching the race. Crazy concept. Did you catch that Mike Joy thought a replay from last year was live, and he reacted to it?
Yeah, he said, "Oh, yeah, I did catch that." I just feel like they're not. I don't know, because again, the Richard Petty and Greg Biffle stuff. Yes, it was kind of annoying, especially when they started talking about the hurricane stuff, and
that was.
It's getting.
I don't want to get into that, but it was a 5-10 minute discussion on that. They were spreading misinformation.
At least
it was bad. I hated that. I don't know why NASCAR renewed their contract, but whatever.
It was really bad yesterday because I was bored. Why? Because the race was boring. But again, that's your opportunity to try to build storylines of what's going on mid-pack for the running. Just look at the running order and what looks different or what looks odd or what can you highlight. Yeah. They don't do that at all. They just go off topic and talk about random things. It's just awful.
At this point, my ideal schedule, and we'll see how Prime and TNT are, is have NBC do the first half, Summer goes to those two, and then NBC does the playoffs too. I think that's my ideal ideal schedule.
Lee Diffie calling the Daytona 500, if the Daytona 500 was actually good, that would eat. And that's on his bucket list, I think.
Yeah, please.
He wants to call the 500. That would be
NBC
cool.
Push harder for it in 2031. Push Fox out. Because Fox threatened to leave was what the reports are. Because they were going to alternate it again, was the report.
Really?
NBC and Fox. That was a report. I forget if it was Athletic or Adam Stern reported that.
If they traded the 500 in the championship race every year, that would be fair.
Okay.
Well, also, because then if you have the championship race, you can then promo the Daytona 500 that you're going to have in a few months.
True.
No.
True.
I don't know.
That'd be
I don't
cool.
know.
That's a good idea,
That
Zach.
would be cool. Thank you.
Yeah.
I should work in NASCAR.
Yeah. Well, let's move on to the T.
The T!
Josh Berry had a pretty solid race going until he got crashed, but he was driving a pretty cool throwback scheme.
Yeah.
It was a Jim Clark.
Race. He had bad luck, but he had a really.
It was a Jim Clark Indy 500 winning throwback. I learned this week, Zach, and I think you said you learned it too, that the Wood brothers were a pit crew.
Yeah, Leonard Wood apparently
in the Indy 500.
Yep.
Had no idea that this happened. Really cool. But a fan reached out to the Wood brothers over the scheme and said they should run it again at the Brickyard.
No, it wasn't
400.
a fan. It wasn't a fan. It was Doug Bowles.
It was both.
Oh.
It was both. Okay. A fan reached out and Doug Bowles was copied on the email that they got, and Doug responded saying,
"Oh,
hey,
and then
we
Doug
love that too." Yeah.
Oh, sorry, I do that at work. I don't read the whole email. I didn't read the whole email.
That's why the meeting cannot be an email. Yeah.
God, literally, you need me there in person. Literally, like that is so cool because I said this on our throwback episode with Davin. This is like I like the throwbacks to stuff that's not NASCAR, especially when it's IndyCar, because I think it's a very important part of American motorsport. It would be so cool if they run that at the Brickyard 400. It would be. It'd be such a cool deal for them to do. The fact that Doug Bowles, IndyCar president, Indianapolis Motor Speedway president's on board with it. You got to do it. I know PPG, the race sponsor for the Brickyard, is they're supposed to be on Josh Berry's car.
Put it on the 12.
If you look behind Alex, you see where that PPG really belongs. I'm gonna say that right now.
Yep.
That'd be so cool. Or even PPG sells green paint. Just put PPG on the car anyways. They sell green paint.
Yeah, you know how they always have a hood sponsor for Menards? Just make it PPG and do like a rainbow that goes into the highlighter yellow. It'll work.
Yeah. So.
But yeah, cool. Next thing, we're sticking with Throwback Weekend.
Okay, what is going on?
We have a Patreon comment. We have a Patreon comment from our latest Patreon sub, Finley.
Ooh, thank you for subbing.
Yes, thank you. Says, Throwback Weekend should be once every few years, but you should still have a special race in the spring, such as the old Looney Tunes sponsored weekends. Mix it up. Last time we had something like that, I believe, was the SpongeBob Weekend at Kansas.
SpongeBob Weekend,
which I attended.
That was so fun.
My faves.
That was so
fun. The whole backstretch wall, like the grass was all SpongeBob.
That
several cars.
They had 5 cars at least. Some in the truck race too. The Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, I know they sponsored Chicago for a few years. I don't think they had a lot of paint schemes though. I think it was just the sponsor.
Yeah. They moved the race from Kansas to Chicago and they didn't do as much.
Here's the thing. I don't get the big debate with like what is actually wrong with Throwback Weekend as it is right now. I'm sorry. I like seeing the Terry Labonte Tiger Stripes car.
Yeah, me too. I loved that.
Most of the throwbacks this year, in our video that we did with Davin, we weren't negative about that many schemes.
Mm-mm.
And has participation gone down? Yes. I think instead of letting a few bad apples ruin Throwback Weekend, I think, and I'm kind of getting off topic from what Finley said, but I think you should make it more accessible to the current sponsors for our race teams to participate.
Mm-hmm.
Because Finley's idea, I love that idea, except what brand is going to actually make that happen? What brand is Looney Tunes, for example? They were big. NASCAR was big too. NASCAR was huge. NASCAR was everything.
And that's
Looney
the
Tunes
thing. Yeah.
Doing that for NASCAR back in the day, that made so much sense. But now it's
who's going to pay up that much money?
And what brand has that kind of imagery to even have all of these different paint schemes themed around it? You know what I mean? Marvel superheroes, maybe that would be kind of cool, right? But is Marvel going to do that?
When I sent you this comment earlier, you said Nintendo would be a really cool one to do.
Nintendo and everybody is a Mario Kart character. That would eat so hard.
But I think that Marvel and Nintendo are
Marvel would actually be
only
cool.
2 that could really pull it off nowadays. I feel like.
Like, remember when Coca-Cola sponsored like 6 cars in the Pepsi 400?
Yeah.
And they got their ass beat by Jeff Gordon. Like, stuff like that's cool. So
Yeah.
I like that idea. Definitely not maybe on that grand of a scale. But, just like a half a dozen cars. But back to like my point about making Throwback Weekend more accessible. Ryan Pastana, who I forgot who he designs for. I want to say it's Junior Motorsports. No, I think that's Ryan Williams. But he made
too many Ryans.
We literally talked about it with Davin. It was like there's like 3 Ryans.
He's for Alpha Prime Racing and Xfinity.
Who made the award-winning throwback for Brennan Poole, the Looney Tunes throwback, conveniently enough. Yeah. So he's Alpha Prime's designer. He had a really interesting tweet saying that, like, instead of it being Throwback Weekend, what if we change the spring race to Vintage Weekend, where teams create original designs inspired by like the past, like 70s, 90s or whatever, and still dress up in old outfits. Basically, they're making original schemes with an old style, right? Maybe teams could still like go to their older number fonts. Maybe sponsors could use their old logos, whatever you want, right? And then sponsors, Fifth Third Bank on Chris Buescher's car might be more inclined to participate with something like that, right? I love that idea. I think, except, just keep the throwback part of it too. Like, just make it so open. Like, if you want to run a throwback. If you want to just make your car look old, make your car look old. That's what I said in our paint scheme episode. If you want to just change your number font to something old and change your logos to what they looked like 10 years ago, just do that. Whatever. Just make it, just try to fit the vibe the best you can, right? That's why I don't really like complain too much about bad throwbacks, because at least they're like doing something, unless it's Chase Elliott's throwback. That was embarrassing.
That was bad.
I don't get why we're trying to ruin a cool thing.
I think it's good vibes. I don't understand.
There's nothing bad about it. What harm is it doing?
I don't understand why Chase Elliott, Bubba Wallace, and a couple other drivers are vocally saying like, yeah, this has run its course. We should stop doing it. It's like,
no, it hasn't.
This is fun.
I bought this Kyle Larson, Terry Labonte throwback last year. This sign, I have a t-shirt of it, and that's my favorite driver. And sure, it was a really good throwback. That's like the high standard.
Well, and seeing the announcements come out, it's so fun.
It's fun.
I don't think it's lost its luster. Like, yeah, less cars or less teams are doing it. Yeah. But I think it's because, as you said, it's not really accessible to the sponsors, and a lot of the marketing teams probably, the marketing teams of these sponsors probably don't understand why they would bother participating, because they're going to lose a lot of, recognizability with their logos and everything.
Only sponsor 5 races. They don't want to give up 20% of their races to do some stupid throwback. I get just open it up, make it more accessible. Do whatever you want.
That's why I think they need to move it to North Wilkesboro, like the All-Star race, or if North Wilkesboro gets its own date eventually, make that the Throwback Weekend, because it's the oldest track and it's just the vibe there fits that kind of idea. And I think some energy behind that race, because the racing there's not that great with the current car, would kind of help.
It's a non-points race. Like I feel like there's less pressure almost. It's like, I mean, if you're paying, I feel like, I don't know. I guess sponsor deals, they still do include the All-Star race, of course, but it's like, I almost wonder if it's not as expensive as a points race.
Well, that's my thinking, is like, if you explain to the sponsor, the marketing team, advertising team,
this is the All-Star race, the throwback race. It's fun. This is just a fun race. They'll be like, oh, it's a fun race. It's not like one of your serious races. Okay, we'll do a throwback.
Exactly.
Why not?
Exactly.
Yeah.
I think if you pitch it differently, and the only race you can do that with is the All-Star race or the Clash, I feel like that's how maybe you would get more enthusiasm back into it. Yeah.
Yeah. And I forgot what I was going to say.
That's okay.
Oh, because North Wilkesboro, like you mentioned earlier, they still have like that old sign where they manually flip the numbers.
Yeah.
Like that fits Throwback Weekend more than I think Darlington right now. And again, the spring Darlington race, sometimes I'm just like, girl, I'd be okay if they got rid of the spring Darlington race.
Yeah, make the Southern 500 more. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, run at Rockingham instead, whatever you want to do. But also, there's more to Throwback Weekend than just the paint schemes, right? Fans in old outfits. Larry Mack was in his old Howling outfit.
And I think it's just really special. Like, we're at a point now, Zach, where schemes from our childhood are becoming throwback schemes. And that Terry Labonte scheme, man, that was so cool for me to see again. Like, that was really special one for me when I was a kid.
I haven't had that moment yet. Well, I kind of had that moment, I guess, really with Denny Hamlin's winning scheme. 2008 was my first year watching NASCAR. That was
Carl
from
Edwards.
2008. I don't know why I didn't have that kind of visceral reaction to it. Maybe because the number was different, but
shout out Carl Edwards, by the way. Carl Edwards wove the green flag for the race.
And then his paint scheme won.
His paint scheme won the race. That was cute.
Carl Edwards wins. Yay. He's coming back. I swear to God, he's coming back.
Well, he's going to be with Amazon.
I know.
With Corey LaJoy and Daniel Trotta.
Yeah.
So I mean, kind of.
Final point. Stop bitching. Stop complaining. There's so many other things. Overtime just ruined that race, and all they could talk about on Monday is the throwback weekend being like, has it run its course? I'm over it.
I will say one thing. I don't know if they still do this, but when they were like, let's have, they like mandated a theme. I think that was a bad call though, because a lot of people were not following it.
Yes.
Right. So I think limited it too much, and we don't want to do that. So I think your idea of like, it's just more of a retro kind of vibe would be cool.
Okay, one more thing. Also, have like a vintage stock car event. Apparently they had one, but like it was right after the Xfinity race where no one was there. Like televise it. Stream it on NASCAR.com. Like get old drivers or just modern drivers and have them like just drive a little old stock car around. Maybe it's one they drove 10 years ago. Like I don't know, 20 years ago, whatever. Just it'd be cool.
Yeah. And one more thing. There was a point in pre-race, like they were doing pace laps. Mike Joy was in the booth by himself. He's like, it's throwback weekend, so you know what we got to do. And I'm like, oh my God, Larry and Daryl are in the booth. I'm like, that would have been so cool.
Would have actually been cool.
He was just panning to Boyer and Harvick driving cars around the track, which like, whatever. I think I liked what NBC did with Kyle Petty and Dale Jarrett. And they had Ken Squire even for a few years. That was cool.
Like actually, like in throwback graphics even. Like go all out.
They should have no done the throwback graphics yet.
I cannot believe they have not had Mike, Larry, and Daryl in the booth. How much money do you got to pay Daryl Waltrip to get him out of his home? He went out for Bristol Dirt one year. Like get that man out of his house. Oh my God, that would be so fun. Oh, I hope DW's doing all right.
Yeah, me too. Yeah. Well, sticking to Fox Sports and North Wilkesboro,
good news.
Fox Sports and Flow agreed to air the Cars Tour race at North Wilkesboro on Fox Sports 1. This is the Friday of the All-Star race weekend. And get this, this is cool. Dale Earnhardt Jr. and Kevin Harvick will be in the booth, and Eric Brennan is going to be on play-by-play. He's the usual Cars Tour guy, but he did, if you don't know who he is, he did the ARCA race at Iowa last year.
And he did it at Phoenix, I believe, too.
Yeah, and he's like really good.
He's really good. He's the next,
be a good booth.
He's like the next Adam Alexander that you're going to be hearing his voice a lot in the next few years. I full support of him. Dale Jr., Kevin Harvick, I believe they're part owners of the Cars Tour. So that's really cool.
Burton and Justin Marks.
Yeah. That's really cool I didn't know Justin Marks was in it. That's really cool that they'll be in there to really kind of bring the hype. And this is just awesome because, you know, the number one reason why someone like me is not going to watch, I guess, I don't know if I want to call it grassroots, because it's a tour, but you know, grassroots short track racing is because I'm not paying a whole subscription for this. So I'm not paying for Flow Racing, and I'm not going to anytime soon because I have enough racing that I watch with NASCAR, IndyCar, IMSA, F1 maybe. It's just short track racing. While I think it's cool, I'm not going to pay for Flow, but this is cool. It makes it more accessible, and I might change my mind after I watch this race. If it's really good, I might change my damn mind. Right?
Yeah.
This is such a cool opportunity. It reminds me of on the Speed Channel, they would have the World of Outlaws race at the Charlotte Dirt Track on Friday night, the weekend of the 600.
Yeah.
It was just so cool. Like, it was like, cool. Oh my God. It's like, and there would be like NASCAR guys like hopping on the broadcast. Maybe I'm making that up. It was just so cool. You know, like I wish Fox Sports would do this more. Like this.
Well, and awesome. On top of what you're just a Speed Channel, like they had the Prelude to the Dream event at Eldora that had a bunch of NASCAR drivers in it. They would air a lot of random little races like that. Like this does give me those kind of vibes, and I love that. It
would have been cool if they did it with like the High Limit race at Vegas a few weeks ago, the Saturday night. That would have been really cool.
Yeah.
Or
Do you remember a few years ago, Dale Jr. said that he was going to be on the last Fox broadcast that led into NBC, but then they didn't do it like last minute?
I don't remember that.
No. Well, he said that was a thing that they were working out, and then it was going to happen, but then it fell through last minute.
But now it is happening.
And now it's it is happening because Dale Jr., Kevin Harvick in the same booth together. I think that'll be fun.
That will be fun.
Cool.
I completely forgot this is the same Kevin Harvick that's in the booth now.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm like, oh, Kevin Harvick, the NASCAR driver? That's awesome.
Crazy.
But then I remember, I'm like, wait, Kevin Harvick's in the booth now, and I actually don't like him that much. Every time I hear Kevin Harvick in the booth, my opinion just goes down. I don't know why. He's getting worse.
I'm excited for him, though, because it's actually probably going to be a good booth with high energy.
Yeah, he might be engaged. And yeah.
And he might, because he's going to be the lowest energy there, he might be able to give out proper insight and not be interrupted.
Yeah, because, Dale Jr. is going to go, turn 4, turn 4, turn 3, they're wrecking.
Yeah. I think this will be a good booth for Harvick. We'll see.
I see you. Okay.
Yeah.
I just love that moment I just had. I'm like, oh, yeah, that's Kevin Harvick, the same guy I already listened to every Sunday.
And not
my brain's so weird. Oh,
well, fantasy. For the 200th time, let's talk about fantasy. You had Kyle Larson, who finished 500th, and I had Christopher Bell, who finished 3rd. What?
Yesterday was so embarrassing, man. Oh, my God. We didn't even talk about the fact that he actually spun on lap 2. Like, what? Like, what are you doing, dude?
Just like Denny went back-to-back, Kyle Larson spun back-to-back times.
Oh, my God. NASCAR at Bristol. Yeah. What do you? So you go first. P500.
Yeah, I go first.
P500.
Yeah. Well, that's where he finished. 500.
All right, Alex.
Yeah.
Come on.
So Bristol, I get to pick first. I'm gonna go with Kyle Larson.
You whore. No, because you know that he's going for the triple sweep this weekend, and you know he's going to do it.
He's probably going to do it this time.
You absolute thug.
See, I talked him down the whole episode. I gave him flop of the week, and then I take him. Yep.
You are an absolute thug. Do you know that?
It's your turn. Go ahead.
Denny Hamlin's going to win the Food City 500.
Oh, he's going to go 3 in a row? Okay.
He's going to go 3 in a row.
Just
Kiss
like
my ass. Bell? Kyle Larson's number 1 enemy. What about Christopher Bell?
Just like Christopher Bell, Hamlin's going to go 3 in a row, like earlier?
He's going to go 3 in a row. I'm getting that vibe, too, because I'm like... Because part of me is like, there's no way Hamlin's going to go 3 in a row. No, if Hamlin's ever going to go 3 in a row, it's going to be this situation. In fact, I bet he's going to deny Larson the triple. Actually, I bet he'll deny Larson the triple.
You're just manifesting this because now you want Hamlin to beat Larson.
It's a win-win for me. I really want Larson to get the triple this weekend. I really want him to do it.
I know. God. See, I gave you Larson for your birthday. I couldn't do it twice.
I was picking him like every week at this point.
I know.
Yeah.
Well,
all right.
IndyCar is also happening this weekend. They are not conflicting. IndyCar
it actually
at Long
works
Beach.
Out really well. Bristol's before Long Beach, so it's like leading. Well, it's not going to lead in because it's not the same channel, but they'll probably shout it out maybe at the end of the broadcast if we're lucky.
Yeah, IndyCar will be on Fox. I get to pick first here as well, and I'm going with Alex Palou.
Shocker.
Yep, he's gonna get 3 in a row as well.
He's never won at Long Beach though. I don't think.
Well,
this is the first time for everything.
He's going to at some point. Let's get.
He never won at St. Pete before either, so, and he did that. I want to pick Scott Dixon.
Okay,
he's good on street courses lately, so he's really good on street. I mean, he won Long Beach and Detroit last year, I believe, and should have won St. Pete. Mm-hmm. He's been up there, so I'm looking at Scott Dixon. So
cool.
Keep an eye on. Andretti's traditionally been pretty good at Long Beach lately, so keep an eye on them.
IMSA is also at Long Beach. We're not making picks for them, but they are also there on USA Network and Peacock, 5 to 7 Eastern on Saturday.
Cool. I'm excited for that. It's so weird to see the prototypes race at Long Beach.
Yeah,
it's the GTP class with the amateur GTD class, or the Pro-Am, I guess, GTD. Yeah. So like the Mustangs, the Multimatic Mustangs aren't going to be racing. Corvette, it's not going to be racing.
Girl, I've been working Saturdays for the past month, and this Saturday will be my first Saturday where I have totally off. I'm so excited. I'm going to have IMSA,
Well, I think the Xfinity race. I think the Xfinity race is Saturday night.
Really? Okay. So I get to sleep in, and then I can do whatever, and then can watch IMSA. That'd be nice if it's at night.
I'm trying to check. It's Friday, April 7:30 p.m.
On Friday?
It's a night race. Yeah, Friday. Wait, Friday.
That's
truck race. That's 2024. This is awful. Wait.
Oh, God. Zach's lying.
Disable my ad blocker. NASCAR. I hate NASCAR. Oh my God. Entry list. 5 p.m. Okay, now it says 5 p.m. Okay, so it's 5 p.m.
Okay. So they're going to be on at the same time, but whatever. I'll make it work.
I mean, it'll probably be like the first 2 stages. So
yeah. Well, anyway, a lot of racing on this weekend. I believe there might be an F1 race. There's Formula E going on. We're not talking about that next week.
I don't know if they're going. I feel like they're going to Bahrain. F1.
Formula E is going to be racing at Homestead, Miami Speedway, like the Homestead. Yeah,
like
the road course.
Are they doing the normal road course, or are they doing?
They added a chicane to the backstretch.
I guess so. That makes sense because
I learned this today on Blue Sky.
Interesting,
but
weird. Okay.
Yeah.
So Formula E can race at Homestead Miami Speedway,
but not IndyCar.
David Land actually, not to shout out David Land, but he had a really good video about how we talk about, we should go to Watkins Glen, literally any track or whatever. And people always say, well, no one shows up to those races. Who's paying the bills? Fox.
Mm-hmm.
Does the at track audience matter? Or does the TV audience matter? What if Fox, since they're trying to promote the sport anyways, what if they paid to get a race at Phoenix or Homestead or something early in the season, right?
Saturday night race at Phoenix, Cup race Sunday, Saturday night IndyCar race at Homestead, Cup race Sunday. I'm just saying that'd be cool. I think
David Land would be mad at you for that. Someone brought the idea of a throwback weekend to him for IndyCar, and he did not like that. I think a throwback weekend for IndyCar at Milwaukee would be kind of cool because it's their oldest somewhat track, but
they just don't have a big schedule. I'm just like a throwback weekend. I'm just like, with IndyCar.
They already kind of do that at the Indy 500. Like some teams will do throwbacks at the 500. So it's like,
I don't think they need to do IndyCar doesn't need to do like we're doing this kind of thing. Teams can just do it whenever.
Yeah, they almost I don't know. They almost don't have enough history. Like they do have enough history, but it's awkward because it's
there's a lot of complicated hurt feelings history in IndyCar.
It'd be kind of hard to do. I don't know because I'm like, what would Joseph Newgarden run for a throwback scheme? Like, who's he going to throw back to?
No idea.
Sure, there's a lot of Penske history, but whatever. We're yapping at this point, but
yeah. Well, it's episode 200, and we kind of wrapped up pretty early, so it's fine. Thank you for listening to episode 200. The first episode is not available, I don't believe, Zach, but maybe someday we'll.
It's on my old computer. It's on my old laptop that I used for college that I could probably. It should be on there. So maybe we'll upload it to Patreon. That might be fun. It had horrible audio because I didn't know how to use a microphone. So
yeah, well, we didn't know what we were doing for quite a while, but we didn't really take this seriously. I don't know if we take it seriously, but we tried to grow it more last year and this year. It's been a lot of fun. Now, we have a kind comment from Colts Fanatic on YouTube. He said, he's proud of you, Zach, for building a PC. Welcome to the Cool Kids Club.
Thank you. I needed that's like a proud dad moment, like someone just shared with me. Dad's proud I built a PC by myself. Thank you. Thank you, Colts Fanatic.
You went through a lot for that. I'm proud of you.
I'm still recovering. My brain's still recovering from all that. Jesus Lord.
Thank you to our Patreon subscribers. You can join the other Patreon comments we had throughout the episode at patreon.com/gayracingpod. And you can rate us 5 stars on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. We'll read any 5-star Apple reviews. Consider liking and subscribing on YouTube. We're, I think, 10 subscribers from 500 on YouTube.
What if we got 500 subscribers the same week of our 200th episode? Come on, cool. Y'all. Do us a favor. Cool. If you're not subscribed to our YouTube channel yet, please do. That'd be great.
And you can follow the podcast at Gay Racing Pod on Blue Sky, TikTok, and Instagram. You can follow me at Newgaden on Blue Sky, and you can follow Zach at Dreamy Zach Racing on Blue Sky and Twitter.
Yeah, for dumb paint schemes and dumb takes. So
true.
Well, actually, I'm not dumb. Anyway, I save all my dumb takes for the podcast. Anyways, thank you guys so much for listening. We hope to see you guys next week to talk about where's NASCAR? Bristol and Long Beach.
We have a lot to talk about next week.
I'm doing that on iRacing. I'm gonna hit so many walls, Bristol and Long Beach.
Hell
I'm gonna hit so many walls this week. Jesus. All right, y'all stay safe, have fun. Definitely stay safe. World's getting crazy. Bye-bye.
Bye.